Welcome back and good morning, Central Oregon. With the economy the way it is, life may knock you down, but you don't have to let it knock you out. Joining me this morning, Reverend Dr. Stephen Koski. He is the senior pastor at the First Presbyterian Church of Bend. Good morning.
Good morning.
So you say when Plan A isn't working, just go to Plan B.
Try Plan B.
Yeah.
And everybody, I mean, I don't know anyone who doesn't need a Plan B these days. I love the family therapist, Virginia Satir, said, it's not what happens to you, it's how you choose to respond to what happens to you that makes all the difference in the world. I mean, Charles Swindoll said, you know, the older I get, the more I realize the impact that attitude has in my life. He said attitude is far more important than circumstances or facts, and the remarkable thing is you get to choose the attitude that you will embrace for the day.
Right, and you've talked about that before, which I just have loved, because we have to choose to go through life with a positive attitude.
And we need to be reminded of that every single day, if not every single moment of the day.
Absolutely. Yeah. You have one of your favorite writers, Anne Lamott, has written a book.
You know, she's wonderfully funny and irreverent, and the title of her book is actually Plan B. And she is she's the single mother of a teenage son that she describes to be in constant conflict with, and she talks about her life of being kind of fearful and anxious and depressed, not only about the state of the world, the state of the economy, but even the state of her life. And on top of that, and maybe because of that, she has a chronically bad back. And one day she said she was particularly anxious and uptight and fearful, and she called a good friend of hers and kind of downloaded all of her discouragements, and her friend said, well, Plan A isn't working, try Plan B. Breathe and be kind. At first she thought, you know, that seems kind of simplistic, but she was at the grocery store and she was particularly agitated that day, and she remembered those words, so she decided as she walked the aisle she would breathe deeply. She would try to be kind to all of the shoppers that she encountered. And when she got to the cashier and she was checking out, the cashier joyfully proclaimed, "Congratulations, you've won a ham." You know, she was kind of blindsided by that news because she said, I asked for help, not a ham. You know, I don't even like ham. And as she was walking, you know, taking her cart out to her car, and she was kind of distracted by what had happened, and her head was down, and she rammed into a car that was backing out, and she looked up to apologize. And it was a friend of hers that she hadn't seen in a long time. Her friend rolled down the window, and Anne asked, "How are you?" And she said her friend just burst into tears, you know, and said, like many of us these days, you know, things just aren't going very well. I don't have enough money for food for my kids. I don't have enough money for gas to get to work. And so Anne immediately went into her purse and just took whatever money she had and thrust it in her hands. And she started crying even harder. And so Anne said, "Do you and your kids like ham?" And she said, "Well, we love ham." So Anne took the ham and gave it to her, and she described this woman as receiving this ham like it was a gift that came straight from heaven. She put it in the seat next to her, and Anne thought for a moment she was going to strap it in. But she left the parking lot and her spirits were lighter. Now she went home to the same problems, the same challenges, but she was calmer, and she discovered she had a far more positive attitude to deal with and relate to those challenges. So when Plan A isn't working, Plan B, which might just simply be remember to breathe and remember to be kind. I mean, obviously, you know, obviously that won't solve everything.
Right.
But it might help us choose the attitude that we will embrace today, which really could make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, and I bet you're talking to a lot of people. I know you counsel people at the church, and everybody in one way or another is having some hardships.
Absolutely, and we get so internally focused, and it's all in here, and we, you know, get kind of stuck in that worry. And usually worry is tight in our chest, and sometimes just by breathing deeply, and you notice, and just by focusing on being kind, we take the focus off ourselves, and just even for a moment or two, we put the focus on others. Again, doesn't solve everything. The problems are still huge. I mean, we have to be realistic about it.
Sure.
But it changes the whole spirit, I guess, and the whole attitude by which we might approach those problems.
Yeah,
and that could make the difference.
We can still choose how we go through this life.
Absolutely.
So it is always so great to see you.
Yeah,
Thank you so
likewise.
much for coming
You
in.
bet.
Great to see you.